I was the fifth person in the design team. Any bad product versus good product. The difference is
The secret to building such a product is being an amazing designer, and Rohan Mishra is one of the best at designing products that keep your attention. This interview is a masterclass in how Rohan brainstorms and designs his products so you can too. He even shared this genius hack to find your first product idea without using Google. I am Sanskar Goyal, and you're watching The Sanskar Show. So hey Rohan, just to begin with, can you share like how did you start your UI UX journey? What events happened in your life to incline you towards UI UX?
awesome. So I think all great designers' journey always starts in any engineering college. Mine is no different. I started in engineering college, and that's where I went, and during my first year I sort of figured out that if I continue with engineering, I was good at front end development, so I will I'll make something good and probably start there. But what I realized is that there were no job options. I'm from a tier 3 engineering college, right? Didn't go to any IITs or something like that. So what I realized was that there are no companies like just waiting for me to graduate and get a job. I did not know a term called user experience back then, and I'm talking about something 8.5 years ago, right? Uh, so what I realized was that I have to make something that looks good, is easy to use, and something that just makes people's life easy. And I did not know of a term called UX, right? Yeah, from there on, I interned with a lot of companies, then freelance for a while, then actually got a call from Zomato, worked there for 2 years, built amazing products, moved to uh, Urban Company or Urban Club, whatever you guys do. Built great products, built this international products for 6 countries apart from India, right? So a lot of crazy experiences. And now for 1.5 years I'm building my own company where we help clients with their own projects, which is building their MVP designs or growth stage products. And yeah, so that has been my journey. Apart from this, I have also helped 1,000 plus designers get into design, make a career in design. And that is something also something I enjoy on the side.
So which
Yeah.
experience was better, freelancing or working with Zomato and Urban Company?
So here's what I think that both experiences have taught me quite a lot, right? Because what I realized by doing freelancing, and something like this idea has when I was a little kid, like probably I was in eighth or sixth, even sixth class, I remember. I always thought about building a business. And earlier it was just a fascination of building a business, but later on it became empowering others to do their best job, hiring people, and helping them achieve their career goals and things like that also, sort of something that I had in mind. So while I did freelancing, I always never thought of myself as a freelancer, more of a solopreneur, right? Like I have to think
Okay.
about making a good runway. I have to think about how do I get leads, do I do sales, how do I do post experience of the client so that they can keep coming back and stuff like that. So that idea has always fascinated me, ever since I was a little kid, that I was the fifth person in the design team, because the previous team that was there since 2011-12, they sort of left, and we were rebuilding the team. So I was the fifth person in the design team, and then we went on and hired a bunch of folks. And while till the time I left, there were, I think, 21 designers that we had in the team. And I think that sort of has gone back again to 13, 14 designers now. But yeah, so that has been the journey. But yeah, no as such like you know preference in terms of what helped me more, because looking at the hindsight, I feel that freelance has taught me a lot in terms of how to build a runway, how to build, like, business like thinking, because you have to run everything. Like, you don't have to just do the design, you have to think about how, like, I'm going to survive, what sort of finances I have to do, uh, and how do you make sure that you meet the client's expectations. And at this, like, Zomato and Urban Company, you design for a lot of people. You are talking about millions, millions and millions of people, right? Whatever you make, a small change multiplied by so many
Yeah.
people becomes so many more experiences. So I mean, like, I enjoyed both here. Like, there is no preference.
Also, what I feel is ki with freelancing, you are anyways making your portfolio while doing your job, right?
Sure.
So, what do you feel that should a portfolio have
Yeah.
real life products like which are being used by people,
Sure.
or is it also okay to have sort of side projects just for your practice?
Amazing, great question. Okay, like, let me tell you, it's a great question to ask. And what should be the balance, how much detail and all those things matter quite a lot. So let me start there. uh, this is a chicken egg problem. If you do not have good projects, you are not going to get the
Hmm.
job.
Right.
If you do not have the job or the internship, you might not be able to work on good projects, right? So what I've realized is that, uh, and I have hired like 100 designers so far for a lot of different clients, my own company, as well as at Zomato, Urban Company, and things like that. So what I've realized is that not everyone has the privilege of having great products to begin with, right? But
Yeah.
what I have started to look at more is how much willing this person is to be, like, explore things on their own, and, like, try things on their own. Even if it's a concept project, did they actually go out and talk to the people? Did they do something that nobody else is doing, like going testing their product with people, or, like, spending time with the users and going into the roots, or just, even if even not that, they have created a prototype which is so detailed that I'm like, awesome, like, this is a good thing.
Hmm.
Because, see, like, you don't have to, like, think of it this way, that you, when you are starting out, you might not have so many options that, hey, let me work with Zomato, let me, because, like, they are also looking for people who have some knowledge, who have some experience, right? So there is this barrier, but you can think of this barrier, or you can do something that nobody else is willing to do. You have to stand out, right? Like, we are in this age where I think attention, getting someone's attention is very important. And
True.
if you're just a resume or just an application in the pile, it doesn't matter. Find a problem. That problem can be around you, faced by, if you're in college, let's say, because I believe that's most of your audience is the, like, hostel admission process a big hassle, result process a big hassle, like, canteen process a big
Hmm.
hassle, hostel allotment process is a big hassle, like, whenever you go to a, like, since you are in hostel and college, like, laundry services are a big hassle, and stuff like that. Solve that. And don't just solve it from a perspective of that I'll design a few screens, but see if you can make it a viable business. And this is a personal philosophy that I have. Even if you are doing freelancing, even if you are doing a job, even if you are running a business, always have a few side projects, uh, and not because of, like, source of income and things like that, but it actually teach, like, you have one life. Don't just live being, like, a designer. Like, have other things as well. I'm a designer, artist, reader, writer, whatever, right? So have a few passion projects, have a few side hustles always going on. Those doesn't have to make as much money or anything. It's just to keep you sharp, it's just to keep you updated, right? And that is something that I would always suggest. And if you solve a particular problem in that, just present it as a case study. It doesn't have to follow a set template of double diamond or anything. That's bullshit. Sorry for my language there. But what I want to say is that focus quite a lot on the people, the problem, and how you're going to solve it, right? The first two matters more than the third one, because there are hundreds of ways of solving the same problem. It's the core idea of understanding the problem, and who is actually facing the problem is actually the going to change the game for you.
Also, what I feel is that UI UX design is sort of a newish
Yeah,
role, upcoming
yeah,
role.
yeah,
Anyways, it's a creative role, right?
yeah,
So how do you suggest people go about learning about it? Because it involves more of the experiences rather than the
yeah.
textbook stuff.
Absolutely. So, see, one of the things that you need to get better at if you are trying to get into design is absolutely observation, right? Observe how people behave, observe what they struggle with, observe also, like, what sort of apps they are using, or how those apps or how those products are actually solving their problem, right? So, observation is a core skill, right? Second core skill that you have to look at is, since the technology is changing and everything is changing, so you have to keep learning, right? That's a skill, right? Because, like, if you say that, hey, I've learned how to wireframe, I've learned how to user flows and everything, you're going to get stale. You're not going to, like, stay relevant for a while, uh, after a while, right? So there is, first is understanding of humans, understanding of users, right? And that you can do by, like, talking to them, understanding the core problems, asking whys and things like that. The second part is essentially the tool, right? And we use a free tool called Figma, right, which is a cloud based thing, and you don't have to download anything. You can learn for free, and there are a lot of tutorials there. And Figma also has a YouTube channel where you can find all the tutorials that you need to, like, look at if you want to learn it. The third part essentially comes down to, like, understanding that every solution that you build is not technologically feasible, or business, like, business is sort of not going to support it, which we often call as product thinking. Does it make sense for the business to actually build the solution, right? So you start with a, like, observation skills, and observe people around you, right? What sort of problems they are facing, and try to design a simple solution, try to design a few screens, try to think, if it even needs screens. Yeah, like, let's go there. Okay. Then then design it in Figma, think about the business aspects and things like that. These are, like, very small things that you can do to start learning today. And do not, like, learn to solve a problem, right? So from
Hmm.
day one, just, like, this is an activity I tell a lot of my students to do, and I'm just gonna share it with your viewers as well, that there is this concept, it's called having a problem diary. So you have a diary, you write all the problem that basically you see around you, people struggling with, right? So for example, if someone is struggling with getting their courier, if someone is struggling with finding which books to read, and so on and so forth, like, as a country, we are very we are a developing country, we are not a developed country, so there are tons and tons of problems to be solved, right? So write down those problems, right? And now you have to think about who, like, which all problems do other people are also facing, like many people are facing, right? Just give a tick against that. So just put it in an Excel. Here you have all the list of problems. Make the first column, are other people also facing it? Second is, are there alternative things that people are using? Can this be technologically solved? How much are people willing to pay for it if this problem gets solved, or how much they are currently paying to solve this problem, right? This is a very good metric to start with. You write all the problems, and you make ticks, right? Like, if other people are also facing it, if it can be solved with technology, you can also tick against, or you can write, like, how much people are spending today. And that can give you a very good understanding of that, if this is a problem you should be working on or not, right? Once you have got the problem at hand, and you have understood it, find 5 to 7 people who you can talk to about this experience, and you just talk about these experiences, right? So let's suppose if there is a problem of finding cabs on time, right? So you talk to, let's say, 5 people who are office goers or who use cabs on daily basis and who are not able to, right, understand when they are not able to, what sort of problems they face, why do they face it, how do they generally pay, and things like that. That will give you a very good understanding of this person as well as their problem. Okay, simple steps. Okay, then you take that problem, define that what all things that you want to solve and how would you go about solving it. Once you have that sort of thing in head, that these are the 5 6 things that I want to build and that would be the product, then you go about, let's say, making some wireframes, right? So basically right now you have a fuzzy idea of, or like unclear idea of what this product could eventually be, right? So you take that idea, you convert them into a bunch of screens where you will think about, hey, would this be easy to understand for the people, what would come first, what would come next, and stuff like that. And once you do that, you have set of wireframes. Now you just have to make these wireframes like, clickable and pretty and functional, and just go into Figma, take, like, some tutorials for that, and just create some screens. Now also learn how to make prototypes. Once you make prototypes, get the Figma Mirror app on your phone, take the app to some users, ask them to try it out, and, like, if they are able to do it, if they have some questions, ask them to use it and speak out loud whatever they're thinking about, right? Which will give you an idea of if they are confused or if they are, like, understanding the experience and things like that. And based on the learnings, make a second iteration of it, that, hey, I created this product, then I went back to the users, I, like, I use their feedbacks to make some changes, and this is how it is. If you can document this journey, that would be your first concept case study in your portfolio as well, which you essentially need to get your first internship or the first job, right? So that's literally the simplest sort of way I would suggest anybody who is trying to learn or, like, sort of get their first shot into internship at as being a UI/UX designer.
Also, can you suggest some free resources for people who are absolute beginners? Because abhi
Yeah,
what mostly people do is go on YouTube, search for a
yeah,
video,
yeah.
go through it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it does not. So do you have a
Perfect.
structured
Yeah.
sort of, yeah?
So, see, so first, YouTube is a great platform and you should use it as much as you can, right? I mean, look for Figma tutorials. If you're new at it, like, Figma has a getting started playlist on their channel, so you can learn tool from there. So that's the tool aspect of it. Second is talking to people. So you can search. So there is this website called userinterviews.com. It can be slightly intimidating, but it has, like, simplified all the user interviews thing. They have a guide also, I think, which is free for use. You can use it to learn about user research and how should you go about it, right? And third, I think, like, highly recommended would be, like, there is this website where they have listed all the you can look at best folios that could give you best examples, free examples of all the people who have made great portfolio websites, and you can get inspiration from there. And if you want to get more inspiration about your visual design and things like that, Mobin is a great platform, AppFuel is a great platform, Patterns is a great platform. So here you will find all the inspiration. You should definitely check out Dribble and Behance as well, where people keep posting their visual designs, and you can take inspiration from that. And my suggestion would be, if you're looking to learn for free, YouTube is a great platform, right? So you can find all sort of people teaching you a bunch of stuff. And more than anything, getting into UX, or probably I think this is true for a lot of other things as well, you just have to learn a few things, but apply it, practice is more often, that is what is more needed, right? So if you can just
Hmm.
like, learn bunch of like things from Figma, read from Medium. There are two very good publications that you can refer to, so, and these are free also, so should not be a problem. UX Collective and UX Planet.
Also, when we talked about standing out from, thousands of applications
Yeah,
and portfolios? Do you feel that if someone has documented their journey, you know, let's say on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram, does it help them in some way?
absolutely, absolutely. It does. Nothing, like, you do goes to waste. It's just that you have to understand that some things will take more time to, like, compound,
Hmm.
and other things won't, right? So what, like, if I so there's a very big example, and I don't know why it just uh like, came to my mind just now, that there's a very famous thing that uh Steve Jobs actually took calligraphy class when, like, he was like, he dropped out of college. He took some calligraphy class after that, right? And that is actually the foundation of all the fonts, all the typefaces we use even today, right? And if he would not have actually taken that class, all the beautiful text, all the things that we think that is so obvious to us right now would not have been, right? In the hindsight, it will somewhere make sense. And if you're documenting your journey, I'm pretty sure, and you're sharing it out in the world, you will build a tribe that follows
Hmm.
you on your journey, someone who connects with you, a community of sorts, right? And having a community while building the learning experience, or while learning something, is super important, right? So whenever you think about, like, sharing your journey, just make sure that you add value in some sense. It could be even that people can relate with you, and if they can relate with you, you have got something. So my suggestion would be, even if you're creating the smallest of UIs, or even you're writing some stuff for yourself, just share it in the world in the way that it might be helpful for other people as well, right? So for example, a lot of my students also do it, is whenever they create a visual design, they just post it and, like, ask a lot of the senior
Hmm. Okay.
designers that their feedback, right? And what it actually helps is, it also helps the other people build a sense of, hey, if I'm looking for a designer, I'll rather go with this person than a person, like, than a person who I know nothing about, right? So that also helps you stand out in some way. So absolutely document your journey, and while you document your journey, if you can share it in a way that can help people, do that, please.
Initially, you mentioned that you have done lots of internships.
Hmm.
So, what do you have to say for, finding opportunities as a new designer?
um See, if you're just starting out, make a few concept projects, and I've talked about that as well. How do you go about that? And just reach out from the intent of actually learning, right? So just share your work with the genuine interest of helping the person. And it's okay, like, if you take some time to build out your concept project, which could be anywhere between 10 days to 40 days, depending on how fast you build things. uh, and just send it to the people, yeah, and ask them if they have an opportunity for you. Like, right now the design circle is super helpful. So even
Yeah,
if you reach out to 10 people, you might get, and reach out to a lot of people, right? Like, that would be my suggestion, because it's a numbers game. But also it will be difficult for you, because if you don't make it personalized, then they get all those kind of emails very, like, regularly. So
true.
uh, just make something worth it, uh, worth the time that people are going to spend looking at it. And then just reach out, ask for help. It's okay. If not internship, they can suggest you a few things that you can do better, you can improve on it, you can find resources where you can learn from it, and eventually get your first shot. It's okay.
What do brands look for in a product designer?
See, it depends on which level you are talking about, but as a new designer, what they look for is a person who is willing to learn, is a person who has, like, spent some time in the trenches figuring things out, learning the skills, who can be trainable, right? Because there might be a
Okay.
senior designer and they give you a lot of work to actually figure out, right? And if you do not have that thirst for, or the hunger for
Hmm.
learning
Okay.
and doing things and stuff like that, then it's not going to work out, right? So just be a person who can be trainable, spend some time into learning skills, and do care about the users, their problems, and the business, right? Because in the end, that is what they are hiring you for. And if you can demonstrate these things, um, you have more chances of getting hired, right? And obviously, like, there are some skills, like hard skills, which is knowing Figma, wireframing, user testing, and things like that. But there is a whole other aspect of it as well, which is the soft skills, right? Be nice to people, know how to talk to people, know how to
Hmm.
ask good questions, right? And stuff like that. If you can demonstrate this and you're trainable, yeah, sure, like, you have a real shot at it.
Also, now that we are talking of hiring and opportunities, quickly, can you also share like how much a new designer at a decent level can earn?
See, so uh, it depends on if you're going for a service based company or a product based company, small startup, big big company, and stuff like that. But I think in today's day, a decent salary for a beginner designer should be somewhere around, I don't know, anywhere between 5 or 5 lakhs to 7 lakh rupees per month. Sorry, per year. Sorry, so sorry for that. Like, anywhere between 5 to 7 lakh rupees per month as a beginner, like when you're just starting out. And also, yeah, it depends on, like, which city are you taking the job in. Like,
Hmm.
somewhere like
Yeah.
in a tier two, it would be lower. In Gurgaon, Bangalore, and stuff like that, it would be much higher because the cost of living is much higher. But
Yeah.
like 5 to 7 is a good ballpark to begin with. And then you can, like, as much experience and as bigger companies that you go to, it could be much higher as well, like much 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 higher as well.